Welcome back to Riko's Way. This is part 2 of how Riko did it. Once again, there can't be a better time than now to help and share with you of how to survive through a difficult time. You know, we may be coming upon a recession, the roads are going to be bumpy. You're going to have to think out of the box of how to get ahead and survive. So, you know, it's the last day of March right now. We're still in the middle of this pandemic. So let's get to it. So in part 1 of the video series of how Riko did it, I shared with you that it was not my academic career that helped me get to this point. So what tools or knowledge helped me to get to this point in life? It begins with wake up, get out of bed, take a shower, get dressed, come to eat, brush your teeth, grab your books, comb your hair, don't forget your lunch, hurry, 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 don't be late. I see everyone so hip nowadays to listen to these billionaires, buying their classes or listening to their videos, trying to get something from a person that represents less than 1% of the total population in the world. You should stop looking for guidance so far out of reach when the most basic was given to us when we were little kids. It may not be hip or cool, but your parents gave you the inside scoop when you were just a kid. Life doesn't wait, so get ready and don't be late. I was raised by 2 business owners. My father was the first importer of Inca Cola into the United States. It was a Peruvian soda pop with a beautiful color of gold. Both of my parents worked on this enterprise. My mother was a real estate agent for over 25 years and a college graduate, and a strong background as an accountant in her home country. Now, my father's soda business lasted for a few years, but those lessons would always be there to guide us many years later. My father worked for United Airlines as a line mechanic, as an instructor, as an inspector, and many more for over 35 years. Also, my father was a serviceman and an Army Ranger early in his life. So this is my world I was being born into in 1978. I was surrounded by strong parents. My mother would teach me English, how to read and write, and both of my parents would teach me math. My father loved to read books. You know, he was a self-taught historian. He would keep up on world events and he would read the newspaper daily. I mean, every night I would watch him listening to NPR and watching 60 Minutes. Like clockwork, I could hear the TV episode turn on every day. And we would always sit together for dinner. And on the weekends, we would always have breakfast together. And even though as a child or even as a teenager, I could care less of what was going on, I knew that still my father would be filling me in on world events and history lessons. These are the inner workings or what was going on behind the scenes. Even though I was a stubborn kid at school and I was always grounded every summer throughout my junior year and high school year life, I was being taught at home life lessons and survival skills. My father raised me with a hammer and a saw. He didn't hit me with them, but we did endless remodeling projects at our home, you know, from roofing, sheetrock, tile work, bathrooms, you name it, electrical, plumbing, all, you know, Tim Toolman Taylor type stuff. That was my childhood. My mother never let me sit still either. She had me going outside to pull weeds. I was doing gardening. I was running sprinkler systems for her plants. We never were allowed to sit and watch TV. Maybe an hour here or there, but my parents always made us constantly keep moving. So I didn't grow up anything like my classmates who sat on their butts all day and played video games and never touched a broom in their lives. I would tell my classmates all the things I would do and they would just say, poor you, Riko. For me, I felt like I was living on a farm. That's what it felt like. Never ending, but what was I learning? I was learning routines. I was learning how to start and finish tasks. when something is done wrong, either I would get spanked or I would get told, do it again. Figuring out the best way to cut the lawn. I grew up on a half-acre plot, and half of the home was covered in grass. So every time I cut the grass, I would try to figure out, how can I cut this grass without having to take a double pass? What is the fastest way to do it right to reach my mother's approval? You know, I was being taught trades. I didn't see it then, but I was being taught the basics of how to survive. Considering the whole time I was still in school and screwing up, my home routines never changed. They always remained. Now, did I take all these lessons willingly or without any talk back? Or did I have ill feelings towards my parents? Now, I wouldn't dare talk back to my father. That would be death. But I did talk back to my mother. And one thing my mother always told me, you're going to regret all the things that you said to me when you're older. And sure enough, when I got into my 20s, I did regret all the things I said in my youth to my mother. And I did make amends with my father as well. I'll touch more on that later, but it is key to get over your childhood demons. It is essential that you make amends with your parents. As an adult, it's better for all parties. In your career, how are you ever going to overcome challenges with personnel or with your boss if you can't even make up with your own parents? That's the message I'm trying to bring up. Don't overlook home. Everything you need is there. Open up your eyes. All the lessons, they're there at your home. In the next video, I'm going to share with you how I started working in the family business, how I learned good business practice and ethics, also how I became a realtor for over 10 years and a general contractor till today. As always, peace and wash your hands and be safe.